All right, here we go. Episode number 17, Chris Opdyke Show. Today having Michele and Randy from RevolutioniZe Nutrition. Guys, welcome in.
What's up, guys? Thank you.
I appreciate you guys coming in. Like I said, I know everybody's busy and you guys do so much stuff outside of the office.
We like it, though.
Yeah, I know.
Busy's good.
One of the things you guys, your big thing is nutritional counseling. And I just like to start off talking about like diets and all those myths and stuff that goes on along with that. And I wrote a couple down, and I'm sure you guys hear about it all the time, and it probably makes you want to pull your hair out a little
And
bit.
we got to be so careful with what we say.
She's careful.
Randy will share the ugly truth.
Some of the popular ones probably right now is like keto, right? That's probably pretty big. What's your philosophy on the keto?
So usually I'll preface the whole conversation by saying the only reason any diet works is because energy balance. We're in some sort of calorie deficit or calorie surplus, and that's it. Whether it's the keto method, and they're going to sit there and tell you that we're going to eat only fats and low to zero carb and get in ketosis, all that good stuff, and that's true. But most of the time, the issue is people are losing a lot of water weight because of when you cut out the carbs. Carbs tend to hold a lot of water in the body, so you lose a lot of glycogen, stores all that good stuff. So you get an initial quick weight drop. People think, "Oh, great, this keto's working.
It's
really
working."
Good." It's water. About a week later, they're dying.
Yeah.
Or they're not even actually in ketosis because they had a cheat meal.
Yeah.
But usually, I tell people, I go, for the healthy average person, true keto is not usually a very sustainable model. I find some people like keto style,
Right?
but to go true keto,
Well, they'll go like a lower carb, higher fat option. But to go into true ketosis, to get into ketosis is hard enough. To stay in it is terribly hard to do. It's just not a sustainable approach. And people, when they stop, they end up just blowing up because they go back to their old ways and they don't have the proper knowledge to be able to find that that healthy balance,
The happy medium.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people out there. They do the Whole30 or the Paleo. Are those kind of similar?
Yeah, I'll say they're different in the sense of they're at least not working on a different method, the ketosis, but they're the same in a sense of we're just trying to get through, extremism and trying to get through a calorie deficit in a fancier way. Basically, it's like telling you, oh, we're going to make you more money, but in secret, we're just paying you less every paycheck going to your savings account. It's the same thing. You just have to save more or spend less, just like calories.
Yeah.
They just try to trick you.
Yeah, I think everything is just super, super flashy, and everybody's trying to find a new method to, stand out and get your money and grab it when really nutrition is so basic. It is so black and white and to the point, and people don't like that. They don't like simple. They don't like facts. They want extreme. They want a challenge, and then when the challenge is done, they go to the extreme opposite end of the spectrum, and it's just a terrible nightmare.
I would kid around and go, whether it's business, life, diets, I go, any plan that requires massive intensity for a little bit of time and nothing for a long time, probably not a great sustainable game plan.
Probably isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Atkins, is that kind of like along the same as
Yeah,
keto?
it's
Not too different.
I mean, if I read the book and read whatever new book's out, I'm sure I can find some differences, but I like to think of it just as rebranded.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Atkins, you have experience in your family. It has worked for people with different medical illnesses and whatnot, but for the average healthy person, just find a sustainable approach, really.
Yeah. A lot of people right now are doing like a fast where they eat, 8 hours. They have a window, 11 to 7. I have a friend, we'll just call him Ray. He eats he's got a 1 hour window a day between 6 p.m. and 7, and he does it. Like, I don't know how, but he does do it.
Right.
So what do you guys think about like the fasting and having like a window of time?
So when it comes to those, and I actually tell some people, I go, fasting can be a beneficial tool, but usually not for the reasons that people are thinking. So a lot of times the people will do the intermittent fasting approaches to focus on hormone responses, different insulin levels and that stuff, and that's all wonderful and great. But usually that stuff's in a lab with a lot of other variables, and we're in real life, so it's not always great. But what it does do is you have to eat all those calories in a certain amount of time, so it can make you feel more satiated as you're eating bigger meals in less amount of time.
Yeah, something else probably not very sustainable over the long run.
Usually I tell people, I go, what do we use? We used to call intermittent fasting going to bed and having breakfast.
Yeah. Sustainability over a long amount of time. So everybody can do this and be like, this is the greatest thing ever for a couple of days, couple of weeks, a month, and then they're like, yeah, no. So they're all gung-ho about it in the beginning, and then, eventually they come to and realize.
And I go, for some people, if it's like, not to achieve that 1 hour, but let's call it 8 hours a day they can eat. Sometimes that works better for them, but it's for lifestyle reasons, not any other reason.
And that kind of leads into how you guys got started in the nutrition kick. In 2013, you wanted to compete as a figure competitor.
Yeah.
And you guys were dating at the time, and Randy wanted to put together
He was just trying to impress me.
Yeah, he was trying to put together your plan, right?
Yep.
So talk about how that kind of came to fruition.
All right. So we like you said, we started dating around January 2013, and we were workout partners at the time, working at a gym. And she says, I think I'm going to compete. I'm going to get a coach. And me being, regular dude trying to impress a girl says, I can do this, no problem. So we put together a macro-based approach for her, where instead of saying, she's going to do this show, it's going to be cod and asparagus and lots of cardio for the next 12 weeks. We said, here's how much protein, fats, and carbs you got to have. Cardio will go as progress goes. And
At the time, it was nothing, 0 cardio.
Yeah, very little time. And then just as progress changes, we make changes. So everyone the whole time, you're crazy, we're crazy, we're crazy, crazy, crazy. We show up to the show. Who the hell are these 2 kids? She takes off her robe, and all of a sudden, oh, wait a sec.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, everybody gave us a lot of crap. And then I ended up taking the show. I had to go back on for the overall award. I didn't even know what an overall meant at the time. And I literally got pushed on stage like, yo, you got to go back on stage. And I'm like falling backwards. I'm like, what does that mean? And I just stood there and just stared at the audience and then won. So it worked out. And then, when he finished, I was like, we got to create this for the everyday person. It was so sustainable. Everybody always just bitches and complains during their preps how miserable they are. And I was so happy. I never felt better my entire life. I felt great. And I'm like, you don't have to diet and be miserable. There are so many options and so much variety out there. So like you said, the macro-based approach, we implemented it for the everyday person. Just by word of mouth, people were having so much success and feeling so good on it. Word of mouth. And that's how we are where we are today. From meeting people at their homes, at coffee shops, to buying our first property in Freehold and expand, running out of room there, and now having our new location in Manalapan. It's been a freaking wild ride, and a whole lot of other stuff that went on behind the scenes though.
Yeah. So you say in there macro-based. What is macro-based? And when you go on like a contest prep like that, how long is it? Are you prepping 8 weeks out before the show? Are you prepping 12 weeks out before the show?
How long was my first prep? It wasn't a long one.
your first one was probably 14 weeks.
14 weeks.
So it depends. So I'll answer that question a couple different ways. I'll start with how much time do people need. How much time do people need physiologically? Usually 12 to 16 weeks. Some people need 20 or 24 just to get their shit together the first.
Yeah.
It kind of depends what you're starting with.
And that too as well.
If you do have 70 pounds of body fat to drop, do you have 10 pounds of body fat to drop? It's a completely different
it's
thing,
different for everyone.
Yeah.
But usually I'd say give yourself 16 weeks is a safe spot to start. And then the macro-based approach is just, like I said, just focusing primarily on how much protein, fat, and carb you're eating per day and building the diet out of that, rather than saying you have to eat this type of food or that type of food.
Yeah, and macros is just short for macronutrients. So like you said, protein, fats, and carbs, they make up your calories, and then your micronutrients are your vitamins and your minerals. So just in case anybody wanted to know.
Yeah, and you guys have like a system you use. So how many, you prepped 16 weeks out that first time?
Yeah.
So like talk a little bit about what your meals are like, times you're eating, gym, cardio, all that stuff.
All right, where do I start? Okay.
So times I'm eating, different person to person. You can still get the same results if you just make your nutrient timing work for your lifestyle. So like for me, I like even keel. I wake up, have breakfast, and probably like 3 hours later have another meal, 3 hours later have another meal. I like to stay even keel. Some people don't have that lifestyle. We work with somebody who is a surgeon. She'll be in surgery for 9 hours. She can't eat for 9 hours, but it's okay. She can still make it work. Awesome. So that was, my method. I eat all, your quote unquote healthy foods. I was eating, chicken, fish, shrimp, asparagus, broccoli, brown rice, sweet potatoes, so like all of like your basic foods. But the beauty of this is that, say you're having a day and you're just like, I could really go for a chocolate brownie. You can have the chocolate brownie and it won't destroy your progress. But you got to make it fit into your macronutrient profile for the day. So it's all about picking and choosing your spots. Is that something I would do every day? No, but if you did that once a freaking week, no big deal. It's not going to hurt your progress. You don't have to feel guilty about it afterwards. You don't feel like you have to punish yourself or feel like, screw it, I'm done. I'm just going to go on a binger. So you really establish this really healthy relationship with food a really positive, healthy mindset instead of being so extreme and then just throwing in the towel and saying, screw it, I messed up.
Yeah.
So you find that nice balance. So that was, my approach, but each year kind of changed. Certain foods I craved, certain foods I didn't. So like my prep last year, I didn't eat chicken once. I couldn't eat chicken. I couldn't eat turkey. I think I ate shrimp and egg whites for every meal as my
And when
protein
she says
source.
couldn't eat, I mean, she got a grizzly piece in a piece of my Chinese food one day.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't do it anymore. So I think my protein sources was coming straight up from egg whites and shrimp, and then cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, a variety, and then for my carbs, variety of vegetables. I'm a volume eater. I don't like to eat like potato and rice. I'd rather get the same amount of carbohydrates I would get in my potato, for instance, in like 5 cups of broccoli. So I like volume. I like to really make sure my belly feels nice and full. But that's the beauty, again, of flexible nutrition, is that you can choose the food sources you desire, and it keeps you sane, keeps you feeling good.
So you have the meal piece down. Talk a little bit about like the workout, the cardio piece, going to the gym, and what workouts are like, how often.
Yeah, so that also changed every year. So when I did this my first year, I was a personal trainer. So all day, every day, I was on the gym floor. I wasn't working out, but I was demonstrating things. Whereas now it's completely a desk job. I'm on my ass all day. So my caloric expenditure is different. I don't put out as much as I used to on the day-to-day basis. So my first year, I didn't do any cardio, 0, literally none. To last year when I was prepping for the New York Pro and the Dallas Pro, I was doing cardio
6 days a week.
6 days a week.
45 minutes, 55 minutes.
Yeah, 45 to 50 and 55.
She probably should have had only to do 4 to 6 days at 30, 35 minutes.
I packed too much weight on in my off season, and I'm okay with that.
And she has a tendency to go, well, I know I can get all this shit done at the end, so why get so serious at the beginning?
Yeah. And I split. So like I would do my workout in the morning, I'd go along my day, eat, and then I'd be energized again after all my meals, and I'd come back and I'd finish my cardio later in the day. It worked for my lifestyle, and I was like perfectly cool with it. Randy yells at me because I do, not this year, I've been good this year, but I do tend to put a little bit of extra meat on my bones in the off season, but I'm okay with it. I'm not one of those people that are like, I'm fat. I'm like, no, cool, I'm just enjoying life,
You're good with it.
Yeah.
So you started as a figure competitor and then went pro bodybuilder.
Yeah, so I'm pro, we call it bodybuilding because bodybuilding like covers the whole world, but I'm still a figure competitor just at the professional level.
Okay.
So it's still figure. It's just another level of it. So more muscle mass, even more conditioned. And on top of that, the industry has evolved so much since I first got into this.
But
so much.
Let's get back to the workouts, I guess. The workouts are simple, and that's one thing I stress to people. You don't need a variety of fancy exercises to really get this beautiful shape. A lot of it comes from, genetics are going to determine a lot of things, of course. But I always say it's way better, especially as a professional athlete, to master your exercises and do one exercise 1,000 ways rather than 1,000 exercises
one way.
Yeah.
It's back to the basics. Everybody's like, look at this crazy bouncy ball thing I did. I'm like, just go back to the basics, whether you're a bikini competitor or a ginormous male bodybuilder, you got to go back to the basics. It's for women, they're like, use lighter weight and do a ton of reps. I'm like, nah, it's honestly all the same method. You're just dealing with a different body.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're just thinking of all the exercises as tools in your toolbox, not so much as good or bad, and say, everyone's like, oh, you got to do squats. Maybe. Is the squat the appropriate move for you injury-wise, for your goals? Do you already have wonderful legs and too big of a core? Maybe the squat isn't your move as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things. Bodybuilding, just like Arnold said back in Pumping Iron, it's you're putting clay on your shaping, your building. It's not to make the perfect athlete. It's to look like the perfect athlete.
Yeah, and that's something I just thought of. Bikini competitors, they're all about glutes, glutes, glutes. If you're a big bodybuilder, your glutes are also important. You still got to train the crap out of them,
And I think you guys keep hitting on this, and I think it's important for people out there to understand is that whether you're lifting or you're dieting, everybody's different, right? So how you might treat, if I came in your office, it might be different than if Ming came in the office.
Yeah.
What I mean? So
you have
people don't understand that everybody's body is different.
You have different lagging body parts, different genetic makeups. You have different injuries you're dealing with where you have to make modifications and stuff like that. So if somebody is doing an overhead shoulder press and they are in incredible pain, guess what? There's a lot of other options we can do. So,
or even that, I like to tell everybody, there's no reason to start at the advanced stuff. Start at the simple stuff and go from there. you've had a lot of high-level athletes come through here. And usually when you see guys in the Olympics or in the highest level, what are they doing? They're doing the basics incredibly well.
Yeah.
You don't see too many flea flickers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I have that old school mentality too.
Old
Like
school.
Yeah.
be fundamentally sound and
Yeah.
then kind of go from there.
I always tell people, I go, you have the basics, master it, and then manipulate the crap out of it. So like stuff with your workouts, okay, it's a standard shoulder press, the basic exercise. Now you've mastered it. Don't change it. Now you can do tempo changes. You can do drop sets. You can do so many things with one exercise. There's no reason to change it.
And I'd say almost 75 to 80% of that people lifting weights out there for performance or just aesthetics aren't lifting correctly. They're just worried about moving the weight from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Not have I activated every muscle across the whole way. I don't care what you can lift. I always kid around. I go, if you're a really truly advanced bodybuilder and understand your body, you should be able to go into a gym with none of the weights marked and know what's the appropriate weight
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, I was like, what weight should I use? I go, I don't freaking know. What weight is right for you? I don't know. A heavy and light is a relative term. I don't know what that means for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You guys were doing that stuff, and like you said, you were doing some counseling kind of on the side, meeting people at like the Starbucks and stuff like that. When did you guys have the idea to say, hey, listen, this is probably like, we have a business here we're sitting on, and how did that ball get rolling?
So I'd say like a month after I competed, we were down in the basement, right?
Yeah,
And
so right after, because I always kid around. I go, I have what I like to call irrational confidence. I just go ahead with stuff whether I just think it's going to work. So like a month, I'm like, oh, why wouldn't this work? Let's go buy an LLC on a credit card we don't have money for and just go to town.
We did.
So
No one helped us. Right?
as we kept getting clients. Like I said, meet Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, that sort of thing. I was still training at the gym, and one of my clients comes to me and goes, listen, Randy, I have this property I'm about to sell. I'm fixing it up. I think it would make perfect sense for you and Michelle take your business to the next level. And we're like, you know what? Screw it. We jumped on another thing. I told my mom, she's like, well, you don't need any money, right? I'm like, yeah, Mom, I don't need any money.
Yeah, I got to say, I could probably count on my hand the amount of people that actually supported me and Randy in this. Everybody else said, you're effing crazy. Don't do it. Trying to get us to talk us out of it and this and that. And we were like, yeah, no, we're gonna do this.
It's tough when you start doing that because so many people,
it's not safe, and people that it's not a safe thing to be an entrepreneur, they want you to have a safe job. And
they
we were
want you to do
like,
that 9 to 5 kind of thing.
yeah, I don't like safe.
Yeah.
And we keep driving everybody else crazy, but every time we start doing okay, we reinvest everything.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like as the company has grown, people are like, you're doing great. I'm like, yeah, the money's gone. We just reinvested it into our next project. You know what I mean? And that's building a business and entrepreneurship. And people don't realize that the only way to grow is to reinvest it.
You got to feed the monster, I call it.
Oh,
That's
you got to
it,
feed
exactly.
the monster.
I would say one of the biggest things that Michelle trusted me early on with was moving from me and Michelle working with every single client to really having a staff of professionals handling it. So me and Michelle can do the, let's say, more outside marketing things, more different events. And that was the best thing we could have done because
it was hard though.
Are, the old quote, hire people smarter than you. I'm actually technically not qualified to work for our own company anymore.
Yeah, when we hire, he wouldn't pass through the hiring process.
So that's the trick. They just are amazing, and they can run the business, so we can focus on this other stuff, and they just, like you said, keep the monster.
Yeah, and I have to say that was the hardest thing because me and Randy are obviously extremely passionate, and it's hard to trust that other people can give what you would give a client and follow up with them and put that passion and that excitement and that motivation to the client. That was the hardest thing for me.
It's hard to give up a little control.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
You're
it's so
giving up a lot of control.
hard.
But now,
a lot.
But now I look at them and go, man, they make me look bad every day.
Yeah. We've been through some staff and whatnot. The staff we have right now is they're phenomenal. I praise them every day. Like I can't say enough good things about them. They're phenomenal. We still oversee all the program design and everything, but we can trust them to implement it and do what they have to do.
And they take a lot of pride in it too. And
they take pride in it because they know when they do a good job and they're proud of it too. That's their work, and they're seeing their hard work pay off too. And when somebody tries to like say, oh, the program's not working, they're like, no, you're just not doing it. And they call them out. They take pride. They're like, don't tell me that what I'm doing with you is not working. You're not doing what I tell you to do. Yeah. And it's the funniest thing. I'm like, yeah, you tell them.
Yeah. and I'm sure sometimes they come in here and they want to be coached like that a little bit, right? If they're there for nutrition or there for the workout piece.
Every single person you work with is so different. Some people need a nice hand holding. They need a nice gentle approach. Others are like,
she gave me a look during that one.
Yeah, some people want you to curse them off. I'm like, I gotta curse you off. You know what I mean? But they're like, that's your approach. Yeah. Some are like, no, if I'm wrong, tell me. And I'm like, all right, but I'm not gonna be a dick about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have to be honest with people because it is accountability. If people can't take accountability, then no one, or if they're lying to us, no one's going to be successful at all, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things. Like people, you have to be a lot honest, especially when you're doing this, because you know, like you said, your counselor, if people came in and they were on the program and they're not seeing results, it works.
Right.
So they know you got to hold people accountable.
Well,
And I
yeah.
think especially even me, like you want to be held accountable sometimes for doing things like that.
You have to be. A plan, if it's on your kitchen table, a plan is just a plan sitting there, but it needs to be implemented. It needs to be followed.
Yeah, and
you know?
that's one of the biggest things I stress to every one of our clients, from the 90-year-old grandpa who can't walk to someone getting ready for the Olympia, is just be honest with us. If you screw up and you tell me, then I can go, oh, that's why this is like that.
And you can change it.
And I can change it, or I can
modify
go,
it.
yeah, or I can go, we don't need to change anything. Just actually do what you were supposed to in the first place. We'll be fine. Like a lot of time, my bodybuilders, well, not lately, not. In the past, my bodybuilders just, they know they're screwed up, and then they come in a week later and they go, Randy, look how good I did. I go, yeah, it's great. They go, I cut my carbs in half. I go, well, that sucks, because now they have to stay there because I can't bring them back up.
No, why did you do that? Why?
So I go, if you just tell me things, like she had one of our bodybuilders came in years ago. She got a kick out of this probably. She goes crying and everything comes in. I go, what's wrong, Randy? I had a bunch of cookies last night. I go, were they delicious? She goes, yeah. I go, all right. Any more today? She goes, no. Let's get back on track. We still got 8 weeks.
Yeah, just
That's
move
it.
on. Don't punish yourself. We're not going to yell at you. What the hell is that going to do? The past is in the past. You move on.
I go, don't do it again. But let's,
Yeah. And that goes for everything. That goes for being a coach or an athlete. That goes to being an entrepreneur and so forth, is that what's in the past is in the past, and you just got to move forward.
Got to go forward.
You have to.
When you guys were starting your office and stuff like that, it's not always a smooth ride.
Oh, God, no.
What were some of the bumps in the road that came up when you guys were opening up the office, trying to get staff? Oh, you're rubbing your forehead.
I'm not going to go too deep into this.
so
Yeah, it's always going to be a lot of speed bumps, and I'd say, I don't know if we had more than others, but we had our own unique problems, because not only were we going into a business as partners, we were going in as husband and wife, coach and athlete.
Lots
So-
of hats.
Where, in a normal business relationship, you just have to deal with business stuff. Here we have to deal with interpersonal problems being in the office, as well as bringing work home.
Yeah.
So I'd say the most difficult thing was coming to a place where we were able to, and we're still working on it, respect each other's boundaries, let's say, call it.
Yes. Yeah, you can't go home and bitch about your coworker because that's your husband. You know what I mean? You can't, he was an asshole. But me and Randy are very, very different from each other. Like, I can't describe how different we are from each other. But we both offer two very different strengths. So when you put them together and they work in, this lovely little relationship, beautiful things happen. So you have to respect each other's differences and whatnot.
Yeah, and I'd say in the beginning, some of the bigger problems, I'd say, came from our differences and her trusting enough in the process and the business plan to go, all right, I can't see that first step now, but there's the plan. Let's trust it.
Yep.
And just go all in. Because that's a lot of things people try to do is, half in, half out, whether it's bodybuilding or doing a business. You have to go all in. Whether you're going to go all in and fail or go all in and succeed, if you don't go all in, you can't succeed.
Yeah, and the fear of failure is the one thing that everybody crumbles under.
For her, for example, she was trying to hold on to her personal trainer job as long as she could. So how it ended up her getting forced into Rev is I just stopped showing up for her personal trainer job. I handled all my clients, got them moved around, and then about 3 weeks later, Michele got fired for me not showing up to work.
Yeah, our boss at the time, who has now been fired also, he realized like 3 weeks or 4 weeks after Randy had left and handled all his responsibilities well. He didn't take any clients or anything. He just passed them down. Our boss realized it 4 weeks later. That's pretty bad. And then they were so pissed they brought me and fired me. But to be honest, it was the biggest blessing ever because it allowed me to go full throttle into Rev. Oh, yeah. It was a blessing.
Yeah,
it was a blessing.
before that we were personal training from 5 a.m. to 10 or 11 a.m. and then the rest of the day Rev. And now it's, it's Rev all day. But
yeah, rub all day, every day.
If I was to come into your office, or talk a little bit about what happens if a client comes into your office, how you evaluate them, how you set up a plan for them, and what goes on with that.
Yeah, so basically, client comes in. We have some lovely receptionists greeting you. And when you meet with your nutritionist, they're going to really learn about you. What are your goals? Why are they your goals? What have you done in the past? What has worked? What has failed? We go through a whole bunch of different questions. Then from there, we teach you about our program design here, what we do. We tell you, what do we expect from you as a client, what you can expect from us as your nutritionist. We perform their Fit 3D scan, which is how we track and assess everybody's progress. So it's a really cool piece of equipment, scans them head to toe, gets accurate measurements of their body, creates a 3D avatar of their body so we can see 360-degree views. It gets measurements, body fat, lean mass, the whole bit. So it gives us your starting point. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody likes their first Fit 3D scan. No one. But they love to watch the progress. So yes, you get numbers and stats, but what's most important is that image. You know, Randy always uses the story. You see a beautiful girl on the beach. You're not looking at her and being like, I wonder how much she weighs. I wonder what her body fat percentage is. No, you go, wow, she looks hot. You know, so that's like his like big line. But yeah, so we go through that whole process. We analyze the scam. And if you choose to sign up, we get you started. We're a very low, we're not a salesy type place. We're very, very chill. So if you're ready to rock, we're ready to rock. If you want to go home and think about it, cool. That's awesome too. We want to work with people that are 100% in, you know, that gets us excited too.
And we're not a place, like I said, the hard sell type place. Everything's on the website, completely transparent, pricing and all that stuff.
We're so transparent.
And then when it comes to coming up with the plans, so after we have all that information from the client, everything's set up. As soon as they leave the office, the nutritionist will still get to work on their plan with everything they got there. So they'll put together 2 sample meal templates in the beginning, and we hate meal plans, but they can help early on to give you an idea of how the heck to get to these numbers. And we give them a lot of resources on how to track, some tips and tricks, different sorts of things. And then they're given their macronutrient totals. And then week to week, we try to, every 2 weeks we scan, and every week you check in with the nutritionist. And the goal is to get you to be able to make your own choices so you're not just stuck on a wheel, and if you don't have RevolutioniZe, you don't know what to do. The goal is to create leaders and more knowledge in the industry, so if you do well with us, you succeed your goal, awesome. I want you to tell your friends about us. I always kid around. I go, no one's sticking with us for years because I'm that great to hang out with. I'm awful.
He is. I live with him now.
So that's what I want to create. You know, if you want to come back every now and then to get a tune-up, wonderful. But we want to give you knowledge and not to say you got to stick on our program, be on the wheel.
Yeah, and beyond the week-to-week accountability coming in, you have us daily. So you can email your nutritionist every freaking day with your final macronutrients or your food log at the end of the day. And during working hours, they're going to check it. They're going to say awesome, or they're going to be able to give you advice to make it better. So instead of having to wait a whole week, what if a whole week goes by and you weren't doing it right? You know, you don't want to waste time. So that's what differentiates us from a lot of nutritionists out there is you have a lot of access to us. A lot.
And when it comes to program writing as well, one of the biggest things people ask me is they're like, well, those numbers are good and great and all, but I'm a vegan, let's say. How the heck am I going to do that? I go, well, you're not. That's why I'm not going to write that plan for you. One of my, she just said it before, the perfect program isn't the perfect program. It's the one you're going to actually do. So if, let's say, some person's protein really should be 130 grams, but I know someone's only going to eat 50. I'm going to write them up at 80 to start, and we'll work towards that. And, you get towards it. A lot of people in our fitness industry, I think, try to force their own ideas and doctrines and plans on you. And it's not really about finding the best plan for you. It's about how well can you do my plan. And that's what I think the difference is with RevolutioniZe. When you come to us, it is our plan, and that's a problem. It should be your plan. And the more information we have, the better we learn about you. It does become your plan. So when someone else might see it and go, why the heck is that way? Because that's the best program for you based on your lifestyle.
And I got to say, that's why we also, we got away from those meal templates, because every nutritionist you go to, here's your meal template. Freaking hate them. They're not sustainable. What if you arrive to work and you forgot all your prep meals? What the hell are you going to do now? Most people would say, screw it, let's just order in pizza. You know what I mean? But you'll have the education, the knowledge, and the tools to be able to, on the fly, say, I don't have my meals prep, make some choices. Exactly. It just never goes according to plan. The only plan is to plan for things to not go according to plan. I always say that.
And that's what I tell people. Even if you're the person who loves that rigid lifestyle, isn't it nice to have a safety net?
And if you want to have the rigid lifestyle, go for it. You have options. You can follow the template every freaking day if you want. But if one day you don't want to, you'll be able to know what to do.
Yeah, for some people, it's as simple as being able to switch from, tilapia to cod.
Broccoli to asparagus. You know what I mean? So I think that's why we've grown so much also, is because people have really learned, and they're like, no matter what, I will have this knowledge and this education forever.
Yeah, and there's always a reason. Like, that's a big thing I always say if you're searching for a fitness professional or professional in any field, they should be able to answer a couple of whys about their program or the advice they give you. It shouldn't be, because I said so.
Because my coach said so.
Or look how good I look. I always kid around. I go, just because someone has a six-pack doesn't mean they know how to get one. There's a lot of wonderful athletes who don't know what they're doing, but they follow plans really well.
Mhm.
But when you listen to them talk about their plan, not so great.
Yeah.
You talked in there a little bit about they do a 3D scan.
Yeah.
You don't
Mhm.
do a scale per se.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I know you guys have a pretty interesting philosophy on the scale, so talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
so this weight on the scale, your weight on the scale is your relationship with gravity, right? That's it. It doesn't know what you're composed of. Is it water, poop, body fat, muscle? I have no flippant idea, right? So yes, the Fit 3D scanner, it will get your weight as one of its metrics for the algorithm to get your body fat percentage and whatnot, but day to day, your weight's going to fluctuate like crazy. We have people weighing themselves in the morning and the night. I'm like, why? Why would you weigh yourself at night? You literally have the weight of food and water sitting inside of your body. That is silly.
Yeah.
Your weight's going to constantly fluctuate. Women have it a little worse than guys, but if that number messes with your head, you're done. You're totally screwed. So we'll have some people, a woman will come in and she'll be up a pound because maybe it's that time of the month, but she's down 2 inches in her waist. She's down an inch in each of her legs. And I'm like, so why would you let that slight fluctuation on the scale hold your progress back when you just dropped inches everywhere? You dropped legitimate body fat. So that's why we use that scanner. It's been an incredible tool.
Yeah, and I always tell people, I go, weights, it's not a completely unimportant number, but think of it, it's like gross profit. What does the number mean? By itself, it's very meaningless.
Mhm.
But if you put that metric along with other metrics, now you have a whole story.
And it kind of makes a little bit more sense.
And that's what I
Yeah.
tell people. I go, yeah, like my clients say, why do you need to know my weight? I go, that's part of the picture. It may not mean anything. I just need to see if there's any trends in any direction. That's all.
If you were to plot, like, let's just use myself as an example because your weight loss is never going to be a consistent drop on the scale. So we always focus on fat loss, not weight loss, right? Because the weight's always going to be, I know the listeners cannot listen to me or see me right now. Listeners cannot see me. But if you were to plot it on a graph, it would spike up and drop and spike up and drop and spike up. But that overall trend is going to get you towards that goal. So,
And another big thing I try to stress with people when they come in and meet with us or the staff is they'll come in and go, my goal weight is 125. I go, cool. What does that mean? I go, what does that mean to you? They're like, well, I'd have nice abs, a good butt. I go, okay, let's talk about those things.
Mhm.
I go, if I can get you the nice butt, the great stomach, the good this, I go, what does the weight matter? And it'll be hilarious how many people go, well, that number really matters.
yeah.
It's really crazy.
It comes down to your composition, right? Most women, they want those nice full glutes and hamstrings. They might be, overweight at the time, but I'm like, listen, we're going to be going through a little bit of a composition shift because as we're dropping body fat, we need to pack a little bit of muscle into your glutes and hamstrings to create that shape that you're looking for. So,
And that's a big approach too when it comes to doing macronutrients opposed to just straight calories is when you're able to maintain more lean mass through your fat loss and weight loss, you keep the body that you're trying to attain. I always kid around. I go, doesn't it stink to lose 100 pounds and still not be able to take off your shirt? And I go, it's going to be skin issues, but you can help a lot of them by maintaining lean mass on the way down.
Right. What are some other, just besides the nutritional counseling, you guys do some other stuff at the office. So talk about those services you provide.
Yeah, so some other services we provide. So we do, on top of nutrition, the bodybuilding prep, the posing, the Fit 3D scan. Then as well in the office, we have the muscle magician.
He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well,
And then we have an acupuncturist in there and whatnot. But we also have a little storefront in the front. So we're not pushing any products, but it's more of like a healthy convenience store for people. So on their way out, if they want some like delicious high protein brownies, they can grab them and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more like what supplements should I take? And I'm like, wow.
We work with Apollo Nutrition. They're an awesome local company.
I'll preface by saying I don't think protein powder is a true supplement. I just think powdered food. If you talk about meal replacements, it's a different story. But most supplements that say they're going to do these magical things, ever since Barry Bonds ruined it for all of us, they don't do that.
Yeah, you'll notice everything out there, whether it's a waist trainer or a skinny tea or anything you're seeing on Instagram, it's all going to have an asterisk at the bottom saying, when used with diet and exercise, because the diet and exercise is what actually works. They're stealing from you. Run.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about today before we get out of here?
No.
Man, I can talk about superheroes for a couple hours.
Yeah.
You may want to talk superheroes?
We can talk superheroes all day.
Guys, I know you're busy. How, if someone wants to reach out, how can they reach out, find you, come in for a counseling session?
Yes, the best thing,
Open the window, yell.
Open the window. We're very, very active on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram at RevolutioniZe USA. Same thing on Facebook, just look up RevolutioniZe Nutrition will pop up, and our website is www.revolutioniZeusa.com. Again, we're very transparent. All of our information is there. our pricing, and then if you want to schedule, you just call or email us, and we can get you in as soon as possible.
There's a ton of free content on the website and social media as well. On the website, there's a billion different blogs on you name it, different topics, little quick reads that might help somebody out.
That's great. Michele, Randy, thanks for coming in so much today. RevolutioniZe Counseling in Manalapan.
Manalapan, yep.
Check them out.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.